How are you, sir? Yeah, I've got three matters here. There's my ID. I'm an Australian lawyer and I've got two crimes to report and also a very important 6-page letter which is 70 whistleblowers from the New South Wales Police blowing the whistle on the fraud behind the COVID pandemic, and in particular trying to seek other police to join their whistleblower group. They're saying here that many members of the force are fed up with the approach to enforce oppressive rules placed upon the population in the name of COVID. And this is going to be Senior Constable at Senior Constable, I'll give you the name. Senior Constable Alexander Cooney, Coffs Clarence Highway Patrol. This is very, very serious. It's just come out. New South Wales Police Force. So he's written this letter, whistleblower, to Michael Fuller, Police Commissioner of New South Wales. I'm just cutting to the punchline because I know you're busy. Police force employees should have a choice as to whether or not to receive vaccines. The police believe that all members of the community also have choice around receiving vaccines. Police do not participate in any way in the forcing of vaccines upon the population, which we all know the Prime Minister said is going to make it as mandatory as possible. Police associations start preparing to defend police employees who choose not to be vaccinated and to raise the alarm. Now, this is from the police. This is 70 police have apparently signed this. To raise the alarm, there's a global dictatorship occurring. This isn't me as a conspiracy theorist, because I know it's fact, but they're saying a global dictatorship occurring and the police force is being used as a tool to push these global and corporate agendas upon the population. And finally, to warn the police force not to simply acquiesce to these requests, rules and laws, and to act in the best interests of its population, not tyranny of government. So that's the guts of it, but I'd like you to actually take a copy of that, and there's a reference to where you can find it on a website.
Do you want me to make a copy?
No, you can have that one. And then, I mean, at some point I will write to the Commissioner, other people will, to see if they'd circulate it to all of you. Now, the crimes I'd like to report, and I don't know whether you've got a written form I could sign here. The main crime, well, actually two main crimes. One is so just on that document there, I'm hoping there'd be Victorian police that read that, get in touch with the constable, get access to all the material, and it may be that some members of the Victorian Police would want to go whistleblower, and I can tell you that there is protection from whistleblowers under the Public Interest Disclosure Act in Victoria, so your legal team will talk to you about that. But there is protection for anyone in Victoria that also wants to whistleblow if they think this is getting out of hand, because what happened on the weekend was not good. The public didn't like what happened, and we're trying to work with the police. I've been trying to work with the police. We want you to be working with us, not for a global dictatorship. So I'm doing this seriously. I'm telling you, mate, from my heart, that we want you guys to understand what's going on behind the scenes, because we've done all the homework and we're alarmed with what's about to happen with this new transhuman vaccine. Now, the second crime, there's a crime, well, that's a crime in there. He's saying there's a global dictatorship conspiracy, so that's the biggest conspiracy in history. This is the Rainmaking Control Act 1967. Not a lot of people realise this is still in the books of Parliament House. I got alerted to it because farmers in the Wimmera were actually paying someone to actually change the weather. And I thought, that can't be right, there must be some legislation. And I found this act, and it's been in force since 1967. And I've done an FOI, I got the answer last week, and they've got no documents. They've wiped the entire archives of this act. So somebody's nervous that the climate change that the government's been doing, they don't want the public to get the record. So this is one of the biggest thefts ever in a public service, okay? And I will go to the Auditor General, but I want to report it as a crime because I've just got the FOI back. And I mean, it's hard to believe. Most people don't believe this is a law, and most people don't believe that you can change the clouds. But I'm telling you, 1967, you can imagine how much has changed in technology. There's Section 8, which is cloud seeding in Victoria to induce rainfall in another state. At the request of the Minister of, say, New South Wales or South Australia, the Victorian Minister may authorise rain-making operations to be carried out in Victoria to promote rainfall in adjoining state. I mean, why aren't we doing that in droughts? And then Section 12 says no liability in respect of authorised operations, right? And you can get off if the minister gives you a certificate in relation to doctoring the weather and any loss or damage caused by or arising out of the precipitation of rain, hail, sleet, snow, ice, fog or mist in consequence of the rain-making operation. So why did they wipe the entire public service records when I started putting this around when I found it a year ago? So you can hang on to that copy, and I want to report the